Hello. Hi. How are you? How's things? Hi. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Hello to John, hello to Bree, and hello to Ish. How you guys doing? How's things? I appreciate I'm a bit early, but I'm home alone, and I've had a day. And as much as this is a parasocial relationship, I don't know, it's nice to have the company. So yeah, hi. How's everybody? How's things? Also, is the music too loud this week? It might be. Uh, it seemed louder this week. Actually, hold on, I can tell you. Oh no, all the volume's the same. Okay, cool. Oh hi, Mark. Hello. Hello, Simon S63. How you doing? How's things? It's been a while since we've had you. Great to have you back. Hello to Australian Simon. How you doing? How's things? What has everybody been up to? Anything fun? Anything interesting? It's hearable at the moment, not too loud, but not normally audible for me. I wonder if it's because I'm currently talking a little softer than I usually do, and so your general volume adjustment is up. I don't know. If it gets too loud, let me know. I think this is also a relatively loud song. Busy, busy, and snooker. Nice. I wish there was a snooker club near me and that I was willing to go to it. Because I do like snooker. Good fun. There probably is one somewhere near me, but yeah. Yeah, glad to have you back. I'm sure we'll welcome John back in a bit. Yeah. It is indeed Thursday again. It's not cheap anymore. Costs about 14 to 16 pounds for 2 hours. That is a lot. Wow. I mean, for 2 hours, like, you know, once a month at most, I could deal with that, you know. But yeah, we'll see. See if I can find one at the very least. Snooker's fine, pretty low impact. Snooker halls all used to be smoky boozers growing up. Yeah, that's the thing is, my grandpa used to play pool or snooker, one of the two. And it was a very like, yeah, uh, smoky, boozy, um, type affair. Been testing Intel base settings on the 14900Ks, was 13th, 12th, and 11th. Nice. That is the base profile, right? Like that's the 188 watt, is it? Rather than the 253 that they are at stock. Yes, 900K chips are the top of the line. They're also the ones that have the major stability problems at the moment. Yep, used to smoke while playing snooker in my younger years. Nice, fair, fair. I'm afraid I've never been one for any sort of recreational um, consumption, both on the drug, drink, and I can't think of a D word that would be a synonym for smoking. So, smoking front. Yeah. I grew up and stopped. Plus, it got expensive. Nice. Hello Jim. 188 watts on ASUS boards, 125 on Gigabyte. What the? I thought the whole point of the base profile was that it was a slightly lower power, but like otherwise stable, like and cross-platform solution that Intel was handing down. You know, like what's Intel doing, man? um. Are 900K ones hobbled with efficiency cores or just real ones? No, they are. They are the flagship carriers actually. The 13 and 14. No, which one is it? I think one of them has 16 efficiency cores. And 8 full fat cores. Is it the? Yeah. So the 14 900K and I think 1300K because they're the same chip. Those are 24 core chips with 32 threads, which have 8 performance cores, 8 P cores, and 16 E cores. Just watching a vid from Jay of him ranting about ASUS boards. I haven't had any boards in a while actually. Although then again, I haven't really been an active participant in my own life. Well, 253 watts is within spec, and so is 65 watts. So you tell me. Well, the funny thing for those that don't know is that Intel's like official position over whether or not it is in spec to run at a higher power limit is yes. Basically, you are allowed to mess with the power limit and the tau time, as in the time on boost, as much as you like. A lot of motherboards, by default, mind you, like not you have to go and enable it. Like you put a chip in and then boot it, and by default, there are no power limits, or more specifically, they generally do 4096 watts as the PL1 and PL2 power limits, and tau of, what was it, 192 seconds? I can't remember the tau time, but like basically for as long as you want, right? Now, in my own experience with testing, especially 12, 13, 14, so Alder Lake and onwards, the hybrid chips and onwards. Changing the power limits often actually gave you less performance, because they just end up running less efficiently. And so in some cases, I found that on a variety of boards, actually, I think I've had a Gigabyte, an MSI, and an ASUS board, and probably an ASRock board in, that I've tested that on. Across them all, as far as I'm aware, I'm yet to find one where, especially on the 900, 12, 13, 14, 900K, disabling the power limits gives you more performance. That just hasn't happened for me. Otherwise, yeah. They crank it by default. Yes, they do. Hashtag no limits. I have a 34-page manual on what spec is, and everything contradicts everything, so I might just use it to start a barbecue. Fair. Fair. Yeah, fair. Now you can go into ASUS's BIOS and set Intel limits option instead of going through all the options. So there already was that. You just had to disable the multi-core enhancement thing on ASUS's boards. That if you disable multi-core enhancement, you got stock the claimed stock power limits of either 180 watts for the i5s or 253 for the i9s and i7s, or no, the i7s. It was complicated, but yeah. Although I think now they're adding the option to let you use the Intel default profile, which is 188 watts on ASUS, but it's 125 gigabyte. That's it. They've made it simpler to do, but it should be default in the latest BIOS. As in, it is default, or it's still they. Or that's your opinion. Either way, I agree. But yeah. Yes, Jim. Hello, Joe. I'm glad to be a source of rest for you, Joe. Am I misremembering that some boards have basic overclocking to see what a system can clock up to, like CPU plus memory? So some of the ZSQ boards and did some do have an auto overclocking mode. That is different to the power limits, though. The power limits is considered an in-spec choice. Like, you can set the power limits to 1 million, and Intel will not void your warranty. But the second you touch the voltage, the multiplier, or the base clock, or even your RAM clocks above the factory settings, so for the new chips, that would be 5,600 megatransfers per second, I think. Anything higher than that, and they consider that overclocking, that in theory blows the fuse in the CPU, and Intel can refuse to warranty your chip. I'm not sure if they would, but they can. It's still not default on the boards from the factory. You need to enable it in the BIOS. Why am I not surprised? And also because, like, Silicon Lottery. Yes, that was the it was a golden sample checker, I think is at least one of the marketing terms that they used to describe it. Yeah. Oh. Should really be limited by default because anybody with a bad chip will probably have issues. Yes, yeah. I mean, I think that's what we're seeing with the i9s that are crashing and or outright dying. So yeah. Hello, Agent B. Hey there, man. How's things? Also, is anyone interested in a bit of a an update on me, because a lot has happened this week. Also, on the Nanoleaf front, I have bought the flexible linkers that I said I would buy, so that I can hook them up to the panels and do the reverse engineering that I want to do and make something myself. Right, so I'll start with the good news. We've agreed to buy this house. Wonderful. That's good news. We're starting that process. I have some paperwork that I won't show you because it has my name and address on it, but I have some paperwork. We're buying the house. Good news. Bad news is the health stuff. So You know how I've been having some problems? Yeah, those problems are kind of getting worse. And, so I'm pretty sure I have ulcerative colitis. I have been really not well, and I have been really struggling to get any healthcare. Now I do have some good news on that front. The good news is that the inflammatory bowel disease team at, I won't say which hospital, are amazing, because I left a voicemail with them this morning, and they realized how not well I am, and called me back and have basically said, screw the red tape, we're not waiting for any of the paperwork, we're not waiting for anything. You are getting a full course of steroid anti-inflammatories. We can have them at the hospital pharmacy tomorrow morning if you can get there. Otherwise, I said Monday because I'm fortunately not available tomorrow morning. We're You're gonna have an urgent blood test and an extra stool sample, just to make sure that there isn't an extra infection also hiding up there. And also they're squeezing me into the IBD clinic, like open day thing, in 2 weeks' time. So the good news is that I will have some steroids on Monday, and will be hopefully actually getting better, apparently quite quickly, which is fantastic. I'm very excited for that. And yeah, but it is another lifelong condition. Here's some living through the mortgage. It's actually less than the rent, like a good bit less than the rent. So I'm good. I'm good. Does your wife make you tea and coffee? She might be trying to kill you for insurance payout. Well, one, I'd have to have life insurance first. Two, she's more than welcome to. This is horrible. And three, I'd have to actually be worth something. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait, you mean to say you've had issues with communication with the NHS? I don't believe you. Yeah. I'm doing great. Yeah, I called probably 10 different numbers, spoke to 5 different people, and yeah, yeah, yeah. Just remember, Intel has had years to perfect the 14 mini pluses chips, so they're able to milk the most out of them, and these new chips are still, they're still perfecting, so it will take a while. Yes, that is true. On the Intel front, which is kind of funny when people then talk about how unstable Ryzen is. Like, both have problems. I have used both as my main system, but yeah, for the they both had issues. Although I've not used 12th to 14th for my system, I currently have an 11900K, 11850K, 11900K. Patch manager is frozen. Uh, 11,900k. There you go. Life insurance is one of those funny things. Oh, you're very ill? The one that needs it the most? Well, computer says no. Yeah, I know. You'll need it for the mortgage, I think. You don't need life insurance for a mortgage. You need home insurance, but not life insurance. Especially because, like, the bank doesn't actually care about being paid back. Like, they hold the deed to the property until you've paid it back. So they have, like, it's a hassle for them to sell it. But, like, it's, you know, the house value is the collateral against the mortgage, which is generally why they're willing to loan you the money in the first place for something that you very clearly can't afford, or at least outright, you know. And happily, we've been saving for 10 years, so what you call it? My brain. Our like loan to value ratio, I think, is going to be 40% ownership, 60% loan. So we're doing pretty good on that front. Wow. Joe, that is wow. Yeah. I also thought life insurance is needed, so they just forced the sale and keep unpaid value for the mortgage. Yeah, well, so the way that the Jim mentioned the deposit, so you transfer your money to your conveyancers, your solicitors. So you transfer your deposit. They then have, I think it's something like 3 or 7 days to like legally they can only hold your money for a small period. So you transfer them your deposit. They then talk to the bank and say, we have the deposit, give us the mortgage value, and then the bank transfers the mortgage value to your conveyancers, and then your conveyancers talk to the other side's conveyancers and send the full value to that. So the bank never touches your deposit. The deposit has technically nothing to do with the bank. They care about the deposit in the sense that you are like the larger the loan to value ratio, or smaller the more deposit you put down, the less risk the bank has in how much of the percentage of the house they are going to be on the hook for. And so that's why they care about a higher percentage deposit. Although, to be clear, I'm not a lawyer, don't use any of this as legal advice. I'm an idiot on the internet who's literally dying right now. Thank you, HB. Also, things are bipolar-y, otherwise fine. How about you? Sorry to hear that. I hope that you're able to stabilize. Is that the right word? Be okay. When I was a kid, up to age 32, I thought doctors would fix everything. After 4 pain doctors refused to treat me because they incorrectly thought I was an addict, I realized they just wanted a paycheck. Well, what's kind of crazy is that I've been told an awful lot. Like, so I have been on what are classically meant to be very addictive medications, opioid painkillers, and what the ADHD community like to joke as legal meth, lisdexamfetamine. I even have some diazepam right now. That's That's apparently addictive too. And where was I going with this? So when I go to the doctors, right? Like, I go to my GP. I generally assume that they know what's going to be best for me, right? Like, I even if they can't fix whatever problem I have, they're going to be able to point me in the right direction. They're going to be able to give me some medication to help ease the symptoms while I get a referral or whatever, right? Like, stuff like that. Every single time that I've gone to the doctors with that sort of view in mind, I have come away often empty-handed and really without any help at all. Every time I've gone to the doctors and said, look, here's what's happening, here's what I need, and here's what the NHS website says you can prescribe me, please give me some of that. They go, okay, and give me it. Why do I need to be the doctor? So yeah. Stabilize the right word. Yeah. Topol is 32 to 35 is normally the time one starts growing up. Andy's not the only one to grow up younger, but 18-year-old is not really an adult anymore. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, I have realized that I was somewhat forced to grow up a lot sooner. There's still plenty of immature things about me, of course, there always is, but yeah, I definitely was. I was always described as independent and mature for my age, which I used to think was a badge of honor. Now I realize it's a result of trauma. But yeah. Where was I going with that? Oh, the one thing that I do think is I am very neurodivergent. I am officially diagnosed with ADHD, and I'm on the waiting list for autism. But let's be real. Let's be honest now. So part of that is well, it's called being developmentally disabled, right? And it's really funny because I think my next door neighbors are basically the same age as us, right? Except they have a kid who's like 2 years old. That they bought a house at, I think it was like 26 or something. They like got a cat for a year, and then they had a kid, and it's now 2 years old. And they look, you know, an awful lot more grown up than you know, than me and Amy. And really all of my yeah, neurodivergent friends are kind of the same. I do think that being on the spectrum does kind of slow your not your maturity down, but pushes life back a bit, I think. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. You know your own body better than any doctor does. My current doc was the first and probably the last doctor to say that sentence. Yeah, I think so. One of the things with ADHD and autism, like assessment and stuff, is that, especially with ADHD, a lot of the the prevailing sentiment is that ADHD just magically goes away after you're like ADHD is only a childhood thing, and that it just magically goes away in adulthood. So then people who weren't diagnosed in childhood, you just cannot be diagnosed as an adult. You just, that doesn't happen. It doesn't exist. And there are many problems with that thesis. Namely, that you end up masking as an adult. That's me how I know. But the point I had, oh yes, is that one of the phrases that comes up there is don't confuse your day lecture on my condition with my lifetime of experience living it. I think that applies to quite a lot of conditions. Gregory, how stood up field day examining you? As Ish says, unfortunately, as much as I would love well, I don't know if I would love House to work his magic on me, because normally, like, the arc of one of those episodes is patient is fine, patient has serious problem, House starts intervening, patient basically dies, House cracks the case, patient miraculously survives. Now, I don't know if I want the part where the doctor does lots of completely wrong, treatments on me that might otherwise destroy lots of my organs, and then comes to the realization that, oh, it's the thing. But also, as I says, most of my conditions, if not all of them, really are a variety of autoimmune conditions. Born through childhood trauma. That one. I don't have any. No. Maybe that's it. I need to get some. Or the patient dies anyway at the end, but at least House was right. Exactly. I don't act grown up though. My kids are old enough for me to act like a child once again. Wonderful. I had a kid at 19 too. I've got 2 grandkids at 36 now. My stepson has a kid, so I'm not too far behind you, Joe. Hello, yeah, another user. How you doing, man? How's things? I had my son at 1920. I believe he turns 365 this year. Nice, fair. Yeah, luckily I didn't do that. I don't really want to pass on all this. Andy, so I take it you're in your 30s and started to unravel all the trauma with your parents. So I'm 27 and I've been unraveling that trauma since I was 18. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'm a lot better about that actually, especially since I cut off contact and I don't get panic attacks every time I have to talk to them or be in their presence. Yeah. Unfortunately, the after effects of their impact on my life continues and will continue for the rest of my life, like the new condition I have. So yeah. Did I miss anything? Insert it's fine meme here. Yes, my intestines are in fact on fire. Andy, did you collect a new Pokemon condition? Do you know, as much as I enjoyed playing Pokemon, I do not feel the need to catch them all. I did. Ulcerative colitis is the likely prognosis. The uh, flexible sigmoidoscopy showed my entire colon is inflamed to the point that it's bleeding. Like the blood that I've been passing is just from my entire intestinal wall. And yeah. The biopsies that they took all say chronic colitis, and so yeah, they are fairly certain that it is ulcerative colitis. Another lifelong. I think the plastic Merc goes back on Monday. It's been fun to drive it, to feel fancy and posh, but I'm ready to get my car back. Nice. Fair. Could be worse. You could have to work with your dad daily. Yeah, that would be worse. Don't have the desire, but have the innate skill of accidentally just falling on every new condition. I do indeed. Yeah, they just turn up one day and kick their feet up, muddy boots, whatever, and just start making a mess of the place and say, I live here now, and I have it's squatters' rights, I can't evict them. I mean, realistically, it's my immune system attacking itself. I could suppress the immune system, but then I die from a cold, so. At a car show soon? Yes, next week. Actually, next Thursday, so there won't be a stream next Thursday because I will be dead on my feet. Actually, I'd be dead, like, probably lying down. I normally just about get back in time, but by the time I've had dinner and whatnot, I'm dead. So yeah, I won't stream next week, but I will stream the week after that. And yeah, it's the SMMT day. In fact, actually, they have a list of all the cars that are going to be there now, and there's a few fun ones. Let me get the app up. Am I doing any content for it? So normally I do. Normally I do at least one video, if not more than one. This year, especially with my physical condition, I don't think I'm going to have the energy to like even really be there, let alone to make content as well. There also aren't that many properly interesting or content cars. There's a lot of fun ones from me, so I'm gonna have a great day. But I think it's probably going to be more on the me having fun, and I might do a write-up after it type thing rather than making videos. I'll still bring all my gear, the GoPros, drone, camera and stuff, just to make sure. But if I fancy it, if there is a video that there's a car that I think is interesting enough to film, whatever, I will. But I think I'm doing a good, and I am thinking of myself and my health above making content. So yeah, a car, what do you call it, like code scanner manufacturer company emailed me asking if I can review their code scanner. So I probably will have at least one at the wheel video up this year. And if I can get some cars in a few months' time, whatever, that'd be cool. Right now, at the wheel it's very much taking a back seat while my health, buying a house, and the tools are all kind of taking the forefront, because health, I can't avoid it. It is truly impacting my life. Buying a house, pretty big, thing to happen and whatnot. And the tools are the ones that are like allowing me to afford the house. So whereas, making car videos is a like in 5 years time it might, bring me some returns kind of thing. So I have to prioritize what my life and health and what is both honestly a bit more interesting right now, and what is also, putting food on the table type thing. So yeah. In terms of the cars that are going to be there are some interesting ones. Where is it? This is the last Audi R8. All the next ones are electric, I think. Also, why not the fancier version of my car? It's at Millbrook. So the high-speed bowl is the big high-speed bowl. Quite good. Technically, there's a speed limit, but oh, I could drive some spyware. Sorry. Also, we are driving the Emmy. We are 100% driving the Emmy. If you don't know what the Emmy is, look it up. It's amazing. Yep. We can even drive it on the road. We might drive it on the road. It's gonna be terrifying. It's country roads. Oh, we might not drive it on the road. Because this is limited to like 33 miles an hour or something, isn't it? God. Some Citroëns. There's also a Fiat 500 Abarth E. I didn't know this existed. That's an electric Fiat 500 Abarth. I can imagine Andy and the Ami going 2 wheels in the bands. Well, it's electric, so the battery's at the bottom, so it's very, very stable. It's also going to have 2 quite large people in it. It basically is 2 AAAs and hopes and dreams. What else? There's one of these. Does anyone know anything about these? That would imply you get the Emmy to drive fast enough to get into it. That's also a good point. The new Civic Type R. The Hyundai Ioniq 5N plus Vision. Oh, you have to pre-book. Interesting. Maybe I'll book that. I think it is a Chinese brand. There is also KGM motors, which are, I think, Ssangyong. think that's their EV line. I think. Mazda's bringing an old MX-5 and a new MX-5. Oh yeah, Mercedes AMG GT63. 4MATIC too. So it might actually grip. Stasong Young, or whatever you call it, makes some really ugly cars. Nissan Juke N Sport. Wow. I can't wait to throw up all over that. Oh, there's another one. There's another brand that I had not heard of until this. There is Dacia. Oh, it's under Renault Group, isn't it? Oh no, they've redone it. I thought it was it. There was a Dacia somewhere. Oh, it's called Renault Dacia. Yes, I could drive the Jogger Extreme. I don't know what makes it extreme. It's not even the hybrid one. There is another Alpine A110. Is it N? It's the S Enstone edition. Ooh. Are you getting the Dacia Extreme? What makes it extreme? The Extreme is the hybrid. Oh, okay. Because it's not in the list. It shows you, like, it tells you. So, like, the Renault Clio TCE 90 is hybrid. The Jogger Extreme is listed as petrol. Yes, I want to drive this. Yes. As we know it, burn your driveway. Amazing. Is that Omodo or whatever it was? I've forgotten already. No. It's called Extreme because it has 4-wheel drive option, an option to turn the rear into bed for camping, and a storage base underneath it. Nice. Fair enough. Omoda. Yeah. There's a smart car, a Brabus smart car, an electric Brabus smart car. How does that work? I will not be doing that. No. Subaru. Toyota brought a lot of fun cars last year, but they've not brought any fun ones this year. I drove a GR Yaris last year, actually. Oh, they're saying that VW aren't bringing anything interesting. They're bringing a Passat R-Line 1.5e TSI, T-Cross R-Line, and a Tiguan R-Line, and those are the only three cars that... Oh no, sorry, they're also bringing the ID7 Pro Match, and 2 ID Buzzes. Yeah. That translates to, if you're smart, get another car. Do you know what? We had a smart car for a bit. I agree with you. Yeah. So yeah, I'll have some interesting cars to drive next Thursday. Yeah. I'm also seeing Dan Bull tomorrow. I'm going to install that cooler on his PC. It's a Dark Rock Pro 4. Ow. I mean, the Dark Rock is actually a pretty decent cooler. It's pretty easy to mount. It does a pretty decent job at cooling, and yeah, decent. You know, Cupras are a pleasant surprise to me. They're quite good. Well, so the way that VAG organizes their product line is that basically Audi makes something cool. VW turns it into, say, a Golf with a little bit less quality, a little bit less, you know, features. And then they take that Golf, let's say, and they turn it into a Cupra. And then they turn it into a Skoda. And so the Cupras, the Seats, are actually often really good value, but they're often missing a bit of the features, a bit of the spec. Normally, the build quality between VW and Seat, Skoda, whatever, is at least from my fairly limited experience, pretty on par. But you'll find things like the Golf R will have all-wheel drive, but the Cupra version, I can't remember, Ibiza or Leon or whatever they're called now, won't. They'll have the same engine, the same EA 888 engine, same turbo and everything, but less power and no front-wheel drive only, as an example. You technically can fit the all-wheel drive, but you need to weld in a new rear floor pan so that it clears the rear diff clears the body. But they are cool, and if you can put up with the sort of lower feature set or spec that you always get, they're great. I don't want to be an Audi driver, but every time I see one, I like them just a little bit more. I know, right? I am an Audi driver. Probably a relatively stereotypical Audi driver too, but yeah, no. I like it. I like that it is a pretty decent quality. Like, you get in it and everything feels pretty nice. Like, everything that you touch, everything that you know, the seats, the steering wheel, the door plastics. In fact, mine has Alcantara on the door cards and on the seats, and the headlining is not Alcantara, but it's nice, like dark grey, black fabric, all that sort of stuff. It's just a really nice like place to be, and then you get in a Golf R, which, you know, might be just as fast, but it is noticeably cheaper, which is fine. Like, it's a cheaper car, and it is a at that sort of price point, like, totally get it, perfectly fine, but it's just a bit of a nicer place to be in the Audi, generally. I was on to the TT from the early 2000s. They make sure you get the one with the little spoiler, because otherwise they skid and kill you. Yeah. Audi have killed multiple people with their design choices with the T. Yeah. The problem is the only Audi I like and can afford has stupid mileage on them. Yeah. Well, the thing is that they are still basically VAG group cars, so parts are cheap. As long as you're willing to be savvy about finding parts. Like, I installed a PCV hose tube thing that is, what you call it, has a VW, like, I bought it as a Volkswagen genuine part because it's cheaper than buying it from Audi, but it's the exact same part. Don't want one anymore. There. As long as it has the little spoiler, that's all that matters. It's safe then. Remember we tried that from the head of the Passat? Well, it worked, didn't it? We got it working. For a minute. It worked. It worked for a minute. Might have been 2 minutes because we were filming it. Still want my yellow and blue rally Escort Cosworth though. Nice, fair. Becoming a child again, see? Indeed. I know ranges have loads of issues, but I still really want one. Oh, they have a lot of issues. Oh, they have lots of issues. With a lot of cars, the general buying advice is, can you afford to buy it twice, right? Like, can you afford for it to go catastrophically wrong and you have to just buy another one? Can you afford that? If yes, cool. With the Range Rover, it's more like, can you buy it 10 times? Because it will go wrong that much. Or if it's a new enough one, it'll just get stolen. You've got to buy another one. Just get a London Range Rover. They have 5 users at the same time. They do indeed. Vauxhall Astra C with no handbrake will do for me. Fair. What's that, like 80s Astra? Because they were only on the Astra like L? Because the one that I essentially bought for my mother-in-law is an Astra K, and that was until or from 2016 onwards or something. Whereas the newest gen, which is now partially electric, or has an electric option, I think must be the Astra L. 2000s. Oh, okay. They must have skipped a few letters then. Just get a nice Bimmer with an N57. They're reliable enough. Is yours the N or the M? Or a Vectra C, like Fran used to have? I remember those. In fact, my uncle used to have one. Yeah. Yours is the N, right? I mean, it has actually been pretty reliable, hasn't it? As long as you know, start thinking about chains. One of the neighbors behind us got an imported Telluride. It's absolutely enormous, stupidly obnoxious, impractical, ugly, but I kind of wanted for those exact reasons. Oh, the Kia Telluride, right. Yeah. No. I don't like standing out. I don't like annoying others. Much in the same way that I don't like others annoying me, you know? So yeah, no. I'd love a Bentley Continental. They are cheap as shit now. It's also because that everything is an engine out job, especially on the W12. And especially in the earlier W12s, everything is either a vacuum line or a vacuum line. In fact, the original W12, which is just two VR6s, so VW developed the VR6, which is a 6-cylinder engine that is not much longer than a 4-cylinder engine because they stack them. So instead of a V, which is the 3 like that, it's more like that. They're sort of nested together, and so they can be more compact than a straight 6 and crush them up a bit. The W12 is just two VR6s welded together at the crank in a V shape. The problem is that in 2004 or 6 or whenever it was that they first did the newer Continental GT. They didn't have an ECU that could handle 12 injectors and spark plugs and well, coils and like manage 12 cylinders. So each bank has its own ECU. And you'll never guess when those fail, because they do. You'll never guess what needs to happen to replace them. You're right, it's an engine out job. Yeah. Want to replace the exhaust headers, engine out. I think you can do the spark plugs in the car, just. Everything else is an engine out job. Yeah, it is thoroughly packed in there. Also, if you're interested, that W12 then became a W16 for Bugatti. Same VR6 style engine, it's just they added 2 more cylinders on the front of both sides of the V. Actually, while we're talking about funny engine facts, Jaguar Land Rover JLR, especially for the like 2011, 2012, like the Jaguar F-Type, the Land Rover Discovery, the Range Rover Sport, possibly the Vogue as well. All of those cars that have a V6 engine, it's actually a V8 engine, but they didn't bother to bore the rear 2 cylinders on either side of the V. So what you have is a V8 long engine. Like the camshaft is 8 cylinders long, 4 cylinders long technically, and the flex plate or your flywheel is a full cylinder away from the back of the actual cylinder. There's just dead space back there because it is just the V8 with the 2 rearmost cylinders missing, which is why it's so easy for them to then drop in the V8 where they do bother to bore those rear cylinders, and it all fits. It all still fits. It's kind of a genius. It's really cheap and it's quite funny. Fry did the same with the 2 ECUs. I'm not surprised. ECU tech has improved a lot in the last like 10 years as well, I'd say. Andy, are you a turbo or supercharger person? Well, I have a supercharger on mine. It's a twin scroll, not Edelbrock. What's the name? Eaton. Twin scroll Eaton supercharger with built-in intercoolers. I actually replaced one of those intercoolers last weekend. Yeah. So I do really like how a supercharger feels. However, as with my position with tech, I'm not a specific fanboy. There are definitely places where superchargers are better, but there are also definitely places where turbos are better, and for higher horsepower, 100% turbo. Unless it's a top fuel dragster, and then superchargers is apparently better, but well, let's face it, none of us are going to own a top fuel dragster. So in real cars, supercharger gives you basically naturally aspirated type performance. Also, it has a really sick sound, but you know, it gives you that very linear performance. Whereas a turbo depends on how you set it up, but generally speaking, if you're going for the big power number, there's quite a lot of lag. Takes a bit. You got to, you know, get it into to higher revs early to help spool up the turbo. But undeniably much it's a more interesting, like more enthusiast platform in that sense, because it is a more in the same way that a manual transmission is a more enthusiast platform and a more engaging platform. I think a turbo makes for a more engaging drive because it's more flamboyant. Um, and yeah. But for my everyday driver, I very much like that it has a supercharger, and I very much like that it has a dual clutch automatic gearbox. Looked at a Mondeo ST220 earlier. Nice. Was it falling to bits? Because most of them are. Also, what did you miss? I gave a fairly decent health update. Decent's the wrong word. Yes. I do in fact have another lifelong condition. It's ulcerative colitis, and woo. I am also getting some substantial update. Thank you. Actual treatment, purely because the nurses in the NHS are absolute fucking heroes, who seem to be able to move heaven and earth when no one else seems to give a shit. So yeah, come Monday I will have a full course of steroids, blood test, stool test. Yeah, yeah. It's actually really tidy. 79k miles, nice to drive as well. Nice. Shame you can't afford it. The new twin scroll turbos are actually pretty decent on lag. That's true. And it also does depend on your setup. If you deliberately oversize the turbo to get higher power numbers, then obviously that's going to be slower than little diddy turbos that you find on, say, Peugeot 308s. Where you really can't tell you have a turbo at all. But yeah. If I could read, I've got all the bad to say about doctors and nothing bad to say about nurses. I know, right? I genuinely go to the nurse practitioner at my GP because they actually listen and they actually help. Whereas the doctors, okay, I went to my GP on Wednesday. That was yesterday. I went to my GP yesterday. Was talking about anxiety mostly. And he concluded the appointment by telling me that the only way for me to be saved is to believe in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. His actual words. I did submit a formal complaint very, very quickly afterwards, and I was absolutely fuming. Because he said he's a Christian, he struggled with addiction, and he has been saved by the Lord himself. And that despite me saying that I've been an atheist since I was 5, he said I just need to believe, and that clearly I had tried all of the things when it comes to anxiety, like the most basic of useless therapies, and therefore I had tried everything, and therefore I needed to turn to Christ. I was sitting there like shaking in anger, and I just got up and left because. How old is the doctor? I think he's probably like mid to late 30s. He's also like not he's not a white English guy. Not that that really matters, but he still has like a Eastern accent. And yeah. I wasn't. When he asked me about religion and then started his spiel, I wasn't expecting Christianity, if I'm honest. Uh, like, uh, but yeah, he sounds like he is a like what you call it, like reborn type chump. Um, and so yeah, yeah, I submitted a formal complaint and uh, I have requested to never be seen by that doctor again. Um, yeah. I mean, he said he struggled with addiction, like. So yeah, apparently I need to wait until next week until the head receptionist of my GP gets back off holiday and will actually like look at my complaint, I guess. I don't know. Um, but yeah, you know. Oh, anyway, I think I think I'm gonna call it there, and I'm gonna go and uh yeah, collapse, and yeah. I will catch you guys not next week for a stream, the week after. Um and obviously videos as usual Monday and Friday in between. And yeah, I hope you all stay safe, hope you all have fun. And I'll catch you in 2 weeks. Hope to see you then. Bye.